we can speak things into existence. Most of y'all know Benny's dad passed away last week. 2 weeks ago, the whole family got together at his house, talked to him for one of the last nights that he was really coherent and aware of who all was there. And I sat down and I talked to him, and he had told me, sitting right there where Austin's at, one Sunday after church, he pulled me over there. This was last year sometime. He said, man, you may not believe this and you may think I'm kidding you. He said, but you're going to get up there one day and you're going to preach. I told Pop, I said, you're crazy. There's no way possible I'm not doing it. Well, 2 weeks ago, Justin called. 2 weeks ago that night, I was at Papa Jerry's house. Thought I'd let him know that. Got a kick out of it. He said, I may not know a whole lot, son. He said, but there's some things I do know. And here we are. But in John 16, 25 through 30, Jesus is here with the disciples, and he is talking to them about his death, his further resurrection, and him ascending into heaven. Verse 25, though I've been speaking figuratively, a time is coming when I will no longer use the kind of language, but will tell you plainly about my Father. In that day you will ask in my name. I'm not saying that I asked the Father on your behalf. No, the Father himself loves you because you have loved me and have believed that I came from God. I came from the Father and entered the world. Now I'm leaving the world and going back to the Father. Then Jesus' disciples said, now you are speaking clearly without figures of speech. Now we can see that you know all things and that you do not even need to ask. You do not even need to have anyone ask you questions. This makes us believe that you are from God. Jesus taught in parables. Even now, sometimes we don't get them. The disciples, you read, and they were shell-shocked sometimes by the stories Jesus told, like just speaking in riddles they felt. But that right there, he tells them straightforward, I'm leaving. You're going to call on my name, and I'm still going to be there. To me, that says, just be honest, be straightforward. We don't have to sugarcoat everything. We don't have to be hostile about stuff, but sometimes coming straight out is the best way to approach something. If somebody's doing something wrong, wrong is wrong. What they say, a spade's a spade and a diamond's a diamond. You can't hide what something is. You may be able to put a cover over it. But Justin likes to say a lot, what happens in the dark will come out in the light. If you see that from a spouse, from a friend, just somebody you know in this church, you don't have to make it public. You don't have to cause a scene. Hey, Josh, I see this, or maybe you just heard something. Maybe it's a complete false claim, but hold somebody accountable. We're better when we are all together and we are all strong. They say, a chain's only as strong as its weakest link. If we all work together and we are all mighty, what will we be able to do in this community? We can change the world starting right here, guys. And we hold each other accountable. That's just a toehold to me, and that's where we start. But the second thing I've got is taking action. James 1, 19 through 22. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry. Because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires. Therefore, get rid of all moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent, and humbly accept the word planted in you, which can save you. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourselves. Do what it says. lot of times we'll sit there and I've said it. I've had it said to me. Bad to say it to your kids. Do what I say, don't do what I do. And kids a sponge. I see it more and more every day. My kid's 12 years old, and there's days I could absolutely strangle her and tie her up. And I get it. My in-laws say it's because of her mama. I don't know. That's just what they go with. But it tells us right there. He has told us what to do. He has told us how to act. Jesus point blank said, plain and simple, taught us how to get into heaven. John 3:16, I think sums up that whole book right there. If you want to put it in one verse, it tells you everything you need to know and the steps you need to take. God so loved the world that he sent his only son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. That is as cut, dry, and straightforward as it can possibly be. I don't know what else to say. We can act. We can do whatever. And I feel like taking action starts with us guys. We're taught that in the umbrella of life, we are at the top. Father's Day is coming up. And wherever you turn, those couple days before, you'll hear messages to the fathers. But guys, we were put in charge of our family. We were put in charge of our wife and our kids. Not to be some dominant, crazy force or whatever, but to lead them in the way Jesus led and love them in the way that he loves this church. And like I said a while ago, if we've got strong families that can lean on one another, that can call, it doesn't matter, I'm having this problem or that problem. If we're all together fighting the same battle, this will be a place that shines, a place that is just on fire for God. And I feel we are right there. I feel like there are families in this place that we just want to be together. It doesn't matter what it is. If it's as simple as a cookout or Memorial Night, the Sunday night before Memorial Day, just getting together to hang out and be better together. But also in those verses, it tells us to be slow to speak and slow to become angry. Anger. That's a problem of mine. It's something I fight. It's something that I deal with. But Psalms 37:8, it says, refrain from anger, turn from wrath. Do not fret. It leads only to evil. I like to use the excuse, I'm passionate. Whenever something goes against whatever that is, I'm passionate. I'm not angry. It is what it is. I know exactly what it is. I'm angry. I get a bad attitude real quick. Proverbs 15:1 reads, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. And then Galatians 5:22-23. The fruits of the Spirit. They're not a coconut. That's what we teach our kids. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against these things, there is no law. Self-control. All those other ones, faithfulness, love, gentleness, it all seems pretty easy. Or I feel like it is. The self-control, though, I fight it. I fight it. Austin, me and him work together every day. I see him, I promise you, as much as I see my wife and kid. We ride to work together. We work together 8 hours a day, and we ride home together. We are in each other's presence for a minimum of 10 hours a day. Believe it or not, I have done a thing or two to get on his nerves, as he has done a thing or two to get on mine. It's life. He can say some things to me that cut deep, like we talked about a while ago. I can say things to him that cut just as deep. But where's the good in that? Me and him show up here on Sundays. We show up here on Wednesdays. He's back there with your kids almost every Sunday. If we are not in the workplace putting forth a good witness, a good standing, then what are we doing here on Sundays and Wednesdays? He's going to get mad, I'm going to get mad, and that's fine. You're going to have disagreements. But the way you respond to that, having the self-control is what makes the difference in being upset, I believe, and being angry. Being angry makes you say things, do things that I believe in the blink of an eye you'll regret. So that self-control we talk about right there in Galatians, that's something I fight every day. That's something I pray about every day, that I'll be able to have that patience, have that calmness, just to be better. That my steps and my showing for Christ is better. That somebody may see me and say, hey man, you're different. What happened? Well, let me tell you a story. And I'm going to tell you part of that story now. That's my third thing I said be an example. Like I said, we started coming to church here almost 3 years ago. We have known Heather, which is Austin's wife, her two girls, Annabelle and Reese. We've known them for, Reese is 9. Reese is 9. I've known Reese since she was about 6 months old. That's how long we've known Heather. Austin and Heather's been together 5 years now. My bad. Glad you know. I'll tell her. But 3 years ago, this September, Annabelle was getting baptized. She called me and Brittany. Hey, Miss Brittany. Hey, Mr. Nathan. Getting baptized Sunday. Will y'all come? Yeah, Annabelle, you want us to come? We'll come. Gracie had been coming with Benny and Tammy some. She's got a cousin that goes here. He's been going to children's church, and me and Brittany would go to church every now and then. We may go out to the country with Mama Grace, or we may go down here to Meadowwood with my mom and dad. But that same weekend, I had a golf tournament and stayed out that Saturday night before till it was probably 2 or 3 o'clock before I went to bed that morning, knowing I had to get up and be here at 10:30 the next morning. Woke up, told Brittany, I'm going to set this one out. I got to be back at the golf course at 1. I'm not going. Tell them whatever you want to tell them. I don't care. And Heather called again that morning, and Annabelle said, hey, are you guys coming? And at that moment, a 9-year-old girl changed, I believe, the path of my life and my family's life. We showed up that Sunday. I have not took a drink of alcohol. I have not done anything like that since the day I stepped back in this church. And for that, I am thankful. And when I walked in, I sat right back there behind, about where Jeff's sitting. You know, when the smaller sanctuary, the chairs were going kind of that way. I walked in. I'm a Baptist kid. We sat in the back row up on the top of the balcony. That was my seat, okay? And when we came in, that's exactly where I sat. Heather, Austin, all the families up here up front so they can get good pictures. Hey, come up here, come up here. Absolutely not. I'm going to sit right back here. When this is over, I'm gone. I didn't want to be here. I was here to make a kid happy. But because of that, God changed my life. It went from, hey, Brittany, are we going to church? It's Wednesday night. You know, they got church. Yeah, I guess we'll go. Saturday night, are we getting up in the morning? Yeah, we'll get up in the morning. To at 5:30 Wednesday afternoon, you got ready, got in the car. By 6 o'clock, we was at church. Sunday morning, we was at church at 10 o'clock. We started Sunday school, which, by the way, if you don't come to Sunday school, you're missing a blessing. Randy Minga is a blessing to listen to, and you learn a whole lot. We may go over half a verse, but you're going to know everything there is to know about that half a verse, and it's amazing. We have Sunday school Sunday mornings at 9:30. But I don't have much left. But that being said, being an example, just like she changed my outlook, my life, you can do that every day. You can do that when you go to work. You can do that when you're in Walmart. You just may be happy. It may be Sunday afternoon. You go to Walmart on Sunday afternoon, it is miserable. Brittany signed us up for Walmart Plus just so we could get our groceries delivered and don't have to go. I still go sometimes just to get out of Sunday afternoon cleaning. But Sunday afternoon at Walmart is terrible. If you're walking around Sunday afternoon with a little smile on your face, it may change somebody's outlook on the day. And I know a lot of us have our logo stickers in the back of the car. And everybody sees that fountain. They know exactly what that sticker means. They know exactly where it came from. Maybe a smile, maybe just a how you do it changes their life. I don't know. But it's worth a shot if we attempt to act like Jesus Christ. Love our neighbor. Love our spouse as he loves his church. We can change the world and we can be an example that he wants us to be. But it all starts in your heart. It all starts with wanting to be different. If there's no true desire to have something changed, I don't know that we get that change. And it may take a while. It may take busting through the concrete, busting through the wall that you've built up. Maybe you got hurt at church when you were smaller, or maybe you didn't grow up in church. There ain't nothing wrong with that. It doesn't matter. As long as you're willing to strive after Christ, as long as you're willing to dive into his word, give him the praise that he deserves, give him the worship that he longs for, then you will see his kingdom and be a child of his kingdom. But that's about all I've got tonight, guys. I appreciate your attention. I'm going to ask everyone to stand, and I'm going to close us in prayer. But if for some reason you sit there tonight and you say, I'm not right, I need to make a change, I need to be an example for my kids, for my workplace, for this community, I'm here. My wife's here. And what I told y'all is just a fraction of our story. We can sit here and talk about it all night. And if that's what it takes, I'm more than willing to do it, and I know she is too. But I want y'all to know that I love you. I appreciate you. And anything me and my family can do for anybody here, all you have to do is ask us. And I'm more than willing. But if you would, bow with me. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, I thank you for this time we have had. Lord, I thank you for this ability to come together and just read your word and dive in, Lord. God, I ask that as we go through the rest of this week, you be by our side. You lead us. You guide us. Lord, you set us with divine appointments and give us the words to say that glorify your name, God.